Did you know that a few simple ingredients can transform your dog's health on the BARF diet? In this video, we reveal the 5 natural ingredients that dogs not only love, but that strengthen immunity, balance the gut, make their coats shinier, and even help prevent disease, all based on science and functional nutrition. If you have already started in natural food or want to take your first steps safely, this video is for you. Information based on veterinarians, nutritionists, and current studies on BARF. Watch until the end to learn how to introduce each ingredient safely and put together a practical, effective, and healthy eating plan. Your dog will thank you with health, energy, and that twinkle in his eye. In a world where dog food has become increasingly industrialized, many owners are looking for a reconnection with nature and with the real health of their animals. The BARF diet, an acronym for Biologically Appropriate Raw Food, is not a passing fad. It represents a return to the origins, an invitation to observe what really nourishes a dog, what strengthens its immune system, what balances its intestinal flora, gives shine to the coat and real vital energy. But within the vast universe of natural food, there are ingredients that stand out. Ingredients that not only fulfill their nutritional function, but that dogs love. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into 5 of these elements, chosen based on evidence, veterinary consensus, bioactive composition, and actual canine preference. These are not random substitutions or fads, but foods that, when used correctly, become pillars of modern BARF. The first ingredient we're going to explore is raw beef liver, a veritable powerhouse of nutrients. In just 100 grams, beef liver contains high doses of highly bioavailable heme iron, as well as zinc, copper, phosphorus, and vitamins A, D, E, and K. It is, quite literally, nature's multivitamin. However, like any multivitamin, the secret is in the dose. For healthy adult dogs, the recommendation is that the liver makes up between 5 and 10% of the daily portion of the BARF diet. This is because excess vitamin A, fat-soluble and accumulative, can lead to hypervitaminosis, causing bone pain, lethargy, and joint changes. But when used with balance, beef liver not only increases the animal's immunity, but also stimulates the palatability of the meal. Many dogs literally go crazy with joy when they smell its aroma. An important tip is to freeze the liver for at least 3 days at less than 18 degrees Celsius to eliminate possible parasites. And always thaw it under refrigeration before serving, ensuring maximum safety. The second ingredient loved by dogs and incredibly healthy is raw egg in shell. Rich in albumin, biotin, iron, and B vitamins, the whole egg offers a complete protein profile. The peel, in turn, is a natural source of calcium, magnesium, and traces of strontium and boron, which are essential for bone and neuromuscular health. Unlike the popular myth that raw eggs are bad, the truth is that, when well stored and of good origin, it is safe for most healthy dogs. The ideal is to offer eggs from free-range hens, raised without antibiotics or growth promoters. By including the egg in the diet, the tutor is promoting a more efficient absorption of essential amino acids and improving the animal's electrolyte balance. And yes, many dogs love the texture of crushed bark, which can be ground in a simple grinder or processor. The ideal ratio is usually 1 egg for every 10 kilos of body weight 2 to 3 times a week. And always observe if there is individual digestive tolerance. Some more sensitive dogs may have soft stools if they consume eggs too often. We now move on to the third item on the list, boiled and cooled pumpkin. Although the BARF diet is, in essence, raw, some vegetables gain bioavailability when lightly cooked and then cooled. Pumpkin is one such case. It is a rich source of beta-carotene, soluble and insoluble fiber, potassium, and natural antioxidants. When cooked and cooled, pumpkin increases its concentration of resistant starch, which favors gut health and contributes to a more balanced microbiome. For dogs suffering from constipation or recurrent diarrhea, pumpkin can work as a natural intestinal regulator. And the best, it has a sweet taste, smooth texture, and is well accepted by even the most selective dogs. The ideal amount depends on the size of the animal, but 1 tablespoon for dogs up to 10 kilos and up to 3 spoons for large dogs already promote the desired benefits. It is important to remember that pumpkin should never be sweetened or seasoned, only steamed or in plain water, cooled, and, if possible, offered in small pieces or crushed along with the meat. The fourth ingredient in our selection is fresh sardines with bone. This small fish is an exceptional source of omega-3 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA, which are essential for the dog's cardiovascular, brain, and dermatological health. In addition, sardines are rich in natural calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D, B12, and proteins of high biological value. The advantage of using fresh sardines is that, being a low-chain fish, it accumulates fewer heavy metals compared to larger fish like tuna. It is possible to offer the whole sardine, including with head, viscera, and bone, as long as it is very fresh and has undergone a previous freezing process. It can be offered once or twice a week, respecting the animal's weight. For example, for a 20-kilogram dog, 2 small sardines are enough. The flavor and strong aroma of sardines are extremely attractive to dogs that have food selectivity. In addition, studies show that diets supplemented with omega-3 have positive effects on allergic dermatitis, arthritis, and even canine mood and behavior. A fundamental detail: never offer canned sardines or sardines with added salt, vegetable oils, or chemical preservatives. Only the natural, fresh, and whole version. We close this first block with the 5th ingredient, raw goat's milk kefir. Unlike regular yogurt, kefir is a fermented product with ample microbial biodiversity, containing more than 30 strains of live probiotics, as well as bioactive peptides and immunomodulatory compounds. Goat's milk, in turn, is more digestible than cow's milk, with less allergenic potential and better calcium absorption. Kefir, when well introduced in the BARF diet, acts to modulate intestinal immunity, improve protein digestion, and reduce subclinical inflammation. Many dogs that have an intolerance to certain foods or chronic otitis and itching have very positive responses to the continuous use of kefir. The safe dosage for healthy dogs is around 1 tablespoon for every 10 pounds of body weight, once a day or every other day. It is essential that kefir is produced with authentic grains and raw or minimally pasteurized milk from reliable sources. Always avoid industrialized products or sweetened versions. A practical tip is to introduce kefir in small amounts for 7 consecutive days, observing feces and behavior. The taste is slightly acidic and the acceptance is usually excellent. These 5 ingredients represent more than just nutrients. They are tools for a more balanced life, a stronger body, and a more conscious tutor. But just as important as the food is the way it is offered, with respect for the species, with balance, and with professional monitoring. The moment owners decide to transform their dog's diet based on the BARF diet, not only a nutritional change arises, but a change in mentality. However, even with the best ingredients, errors in application can compromise the results, and, in some cases, put the animal's health at risk. Therefore, in this block, we will analyze in depth the main mistakes made when using natural ingredients in the BARF diet, even when these ingredients are healthy and well selected. Understanding these flaws is essential to ensure that the food really nourishes and does not harm. A common mistake is to believe that because it is a natural and healthy food, it can be offered in any quantity. Taking beef liver as an example, which we explored in the first block, many well-intentioned owners end up offering double or even triple the recommended dose, seeking to strengthen the dog with more vitamins. The result could be disastrous. Hypervitaminosis A, caused by chronic excess vitamin A, is a real condition documented in dogs with joint stiffness, loss of appetite, bone changes, and even neurological problems. The principle, natural is always safe, only works when there is balance. Canine nutrition requires exact proportions, something that many overlook when improvising the diet at home. Another frequent mistake is to offer raw eggs without attention to origin and storage. While eggs are a fantastic food, if it's not fresh or contaminated, it can cause gastroenteritis, vomiting, and diarrhea. The risk increases when the egg is left out of refrigeration for long periods or is acquired in places without sanitary control. In addition, some tutors offer eggs daily, which in sensitive dogs can cause digestive disorders. The presence of avidin, a protein present in raw egg whites, can interfere with the absorption of biotin if consumption is excessive and unbalanced with other sources of vitamin B. The ideal, as already mentioned, is moderate use, interspersed, and always with monitoring. Regarding cooked and cooled pumpkin, a common mistake is to season the vegetable out of human habit. There have been cases of dogs poisoning with garlic, onions, or nutmeg, inadvertently added to pumpkin, all of which are toxic ingredients for dogs. The rule is clear: no seasonings, no salt, no oils, and no additives. Just the vegetable pure, steamed or in filtered water, and cooled naturally. Another mistake is to store the pumpkin for many days in the refrigerator. As a moist food without preservatives, it is highly perishable and can develop bacteria or fungi invisible to the naked eye. The ideal is to make small portions, use within 2 days, and discard any leftovers with a change in smell or color. In the case of fresh sardines, the most serious mistake is in the use of canned sardines, even when said natural. These versions often contain excess sodium chloride, preservatives, and vegetable oil, all of which are harmful to dogs' livers and kidneys. Excess sodium can cause increased blood pressure, fluid retention, and kidney overload, especially in breeds predisposed to heart problems. Another common problem is offering sardines with large bones to small dogs or dogs with chewing difficulties without supervision. This can cause choking or perforation in the digestive tract. Sardines should be frozen for at least 4 days at -18 degrees before being served raw, reducing the risk of parasites. In addition, possible allergic reactions should be noted, especially in dogs with a history of food hypersensitivity. In the case of goat's milk kefir, Many owners make the mistake of confusing it with commercial yogurts or industrialized fermented milks, rich in sugar and additives. True kefir contains live cultures and is produced in an artisanal way. Using pasteurized, flavored, or sweetened versions not only cancels out the expected benefits, but can also generate an imbalance in the dog's gastrointestinal tract. Another mistake is to offer kefir on a very empty stomach or right after antibiotic medications without a transition period. Probiotics should be introduced slowly with constant observation of stool, breath, and digestive behavior. Mild diarrhea is common in the first days of adaptation, but should pass quickly. If they persist, the dose should be reduced or used temporarily suspended. In addition to ingredient errors, there are also misconceptions in the overall management of the BARF diet. The first of them is not balancing the food groups. Offering only muscle meat without meaty bones or without plant sources of fiber and enzymes, such as pumpkin or spinach, can lead to severe calcium, phosphorus, and iron imbalances. The second is to use raw ingredients of poor origin, such as uninspected meats or products from clandestine slaughterhouses. This dramatically increases the risk of salmonella, E. coli, or toxoplasma infections. Another very serious mistake is not consulting a veterinarian, nutritionist, or zoo technician specialized in natural food. Many tutors follow recipes from the internet without considering the animal's size, age, body condition, activity level, and pre-existing pathologies. The BARF diet is extremely beneficial, but it needs to be personalized. An elderly dog with kidney problems, for example, needs specific adjustments in phosphorus, protein, and moisture levels. A growing puppy, on the other hand, requires exact proportions of calcium and essential fatty acids to avoid bone deformity. It is also common for tutors, in their eagerness to vary the ingredients, to introduce many new items at the same time. This makes it difficult to identify adverse reactions, such as food allergies or digestive intolerances. Ideally, any new food, even natural, should be introduced in isolation for at least 5 days before adding the next one. This way, you can clearly monitor any changes in the dog's feces, skin, or behavior. Finally, a recurring mistake is not understanding the dog's natural eating behavior. Dogs are facultative carnivores. They don't need artificial flavors, colors, or textures. Many tutors get frustrated when the dog does not eat the new diet immediately, forgetting that the canine sense of smell and taste need time to adapt. The tip is to make slow transitions, mixing small amounts of natural ingredients into the current diet for several days. It is also helpful to use food as a moment of positive reinforcement without pressure or punishment. Now that we know the 5 healthiest natural ingredients that dogs love within the BARF diet, as well as the most common mistakes when using them, it's time to structure a practical plan. This block is entirely focused on the safe and gradual introduction of these ingredients, respecting the dog's size, age, and health condition. The objective is to transform information into action in an organized way, and based on the recommendations of experts in animal nutrition. Let's start with the digestive adaptation phase, which should last an average of between 7 and 10 days. During this phase, the dog's body begins to recognize the new ingredients. Its intestinal flora restructures and digestive enzymes adapt to the new eating pattern. The introduction should be done one ingredient at a time, with careful observation of feces, appetite, energy level, and behavioral changes. Day 1 to 3. Introduction of the cooked and cooled pumpkin. Start with 1 teaspoon for dogs up to 10 pounds, or 1 tablespoon for dogs over 20 pounds. Mix it with the main meal, preferably at a fixed time. Watch for changes in the stool. Pumpkin tends to regularize both diarrhea and constipation. During these days, do not add any other new ingredients. Day 4 to 6. Inclusion of the egg with ground shell. Keep the pumpkin and add the raw egg only once a day. For dogs up to 10 kilograms, a small egg is enough. For medium or large dogs, up to 2 eggs can be offered every other day. Grind the peel to ensure better calcium absorption and avoid choking. If you notice very soft stools, reduce the frequency to 3 times a week. Day 7 to 9. Introduction of raw beef liver. This ingredient, due to its vitamin density, must be incorporated with extreme caution. Start with small pieces, the equivalent of a 1 centimeter cube for small dogs and up to 30 grams for large dogs. Do not exceed 5% of the daily food volume. Always keep it frozen beforehand for at least 72 hours and thaw in the refrigerator. Day 10 to 12. Insertion of fresh sardines. Choose small, whole, pre-frozen sardines for safety. Offer raw with pimple and offal once a week at first. For small dogs, half a sardine is enough. For large dogs, up to 2 small sardines per meal. Avoid mixing with red meat on the same day to facilitate digestion and reduce fermentation. Day 13 to 15. Beginning of goat's milk kefir. The introduction of probiotics must be done with patience. Start with half a teaspoon for small dogs and a tablespoon for larger dogs, preferably fasting in the morning or at the end of the day. Away from very fatty meals. If you notice very liquid stools, reduce the dose by half for 3 days. After the adaptation phase, it is possible to establish a balanced weekly routine, respecting the ideal frequency of each ingredient. Raw beef liver, twice a week, totaling between 5 and 10% of the weekly meat portion. Egg and shell, 2 to 3 times a week, alternating days. Boiled and cooled pumpkin can be used 3 to 5 times a week, especially in dogs prone to constipation or chronic diarrhea. Fresh sardines with bones, once or twice a week, depending on the size and need for omega-3. Raw goat's milk kefir, daily or every other day, depending on the individual answer. For tutors who want to put together complete weekly menus, it is essential to use these ingredients as part of a balanced structure. A safe base for healthy adult dogs may contain 70% raw meaty meats and bones, bone-in chicken, lean beef, duck neck, 10% offal, liver, kidney, heart, 5% functional vegetables, such as lightly cooked squash, carrots, or spinach, 5% low glycemic fruits, such as apples or blueberries in small portions, 5% strategic complements, egg, kefir, sardines, turmeric, flaxseed, natural supplements as needed, fish oil, ground eggshell, seaweed for iodine. It is highly recommended to use veterinary nutritional balancing apps or specialized professional monitoring, especially in the case of dogs with pathologies, puppies, or pregnant females. During this journey of food transition, the tutor must become an observer. The color, brightness, and amount of feces, the dog's breath, the state of the skin and coat, the energy level, and even the mood of the animal are visible indicators of adaptation. A well-fed dog has stable vitality, resistance to disease, faster thinking, and fewer behavioral compulsions. In addition, the connection between tutor and dog deepens. The act of preparing food is no longer routine and becomes a gesture of real care. The BARF diet, when well applied, transforms not only the dog's body, but also the consciousness of those who feed it. Each ingredient has a purpose. Each meal carries information, nutrition, and affection. By offering fresh liver, you're delivering more than vitamin A. You're strengthening the immune system. When you serve sardines, you don't just offer protein. You take care of your brain, your joints, your heart. Kefir, in turn, nourishes the invisible defenses, those that live in the intestine, where most of the immunity resides. The eggshell connects protein and minerals in a single natural capsule. And the pumpkin? It balances, regulates, softens, inside and out. Natural food is not radicalism. It is science applied with affection. And each of these 5 simple and affordable ingredients can be the beginning of a new life for your dog. A life with healthier, more energy, and much more gratitude. Did you like the content? Write in the comments. I started BARF. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos on natural food for dogs and cats.